Today I'm talking about the Denver Broncos 2013 season. I thought maybe 2 weeks ago, I thought this season was a major success. It was a good season for the Broncos, but man, the way it ended, just disappointing. The Denver Broncos started the season almost perfect. First game against the past Super Bowl champions, the Baltimore Ravens. Peyton Manning broke a record for most passing touchdowns in a single game for 7. Then he started breaking all the records for passing touchdowns in a single season record for 55. More yards with plus 5,400. And it just was an amazing season. A lot of experts say that the offense was the best in history of Football League. But I'm going to tell you some stats. Peyton Manning already told you. He had four wide receivers with more than 1,000 yards. It was Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, Eric Decker, and Julius Thomas. All of them with more than 10 touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. It's tied for the most 50 points game in the season with 3. The best offense. But man, the whole was always the defense, man. For example, the 3 games that Manning lost this season, was because of the defense and when he faced 3 defenses. The first game loss was against his former team, the Indianapolis Colts. They have a solid defense and up and coming offense with the new quarterback Andrew Luck. And I think it was a good game. Denver Broncos came short of the game. And I think the Broncos was getting better every game. Then they lost to let me remember who they lost. The Chargers. They lost in the Thursday night game. Disappointing game also. And another game they lost was against the New England Patriots. I'm gonna tell you about some of that game. Denver Broncos was leading 24-0 at the half, 24-0. But Manning started slowing down in the second half and let Tom Brady come back and pull up the game in overtime. But since then, they beat the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs 2 times in a row. I'm a Denver Bronco fan. I thought that we're really going to win the Super Bowl. We ended the regular season in a good streak, and we started doing it right. In the first playoff game, we beat the Chargers 24-17 in a tight close game. It was a nice game that made the Broncos almost 3 quarters. The fourth quarter was the Chargers started coming back, but we still came up with a victory that game. That was a divisional round playoff, and we advanced against the New England Patriots in home for the AFC Championship game. That game was completely dominating for the Denver Broncos. The final score didn't reflect the game. It was 26-16. The defense played good at the time. Something strange this season. Peyton Manning had a good performance that game. And then they advanced to the Super Bowl. This Super Bowl was like oh my god, the Seahawks beat the Niners in the National Conference Championship. So it was the number 1 offense. The Denver Broncos, the best offense in history, all history of the NFL. Most yards, most points by game, most points scored in the season, most first downs, most rushing yards, most passing touchdowns, most points scored. And on the other side, the Seattle Seahawks were the best defense in the league. Number 1 defense, but points scored, but points received, yards permitted, rushing, passing, everything, interceptions, turnovers, the positive differential of the turnovers for the Seattle Seahawks. They had a strong defense, the best cornerbacks and safeties in the league. Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, Chancellor. All the defense is really good, and the Super Bowl was a disappointing game for the Denver Broncos, and my friend Francois is gonna tell you about that Super Bowl.
No tengo. Carlos Francisco Sotoleal, and I will talk you about the Super Bowl. It was a very highly expected because of the fact that it was the best offense against the best defense. We all expected that duel between Sherman and Thomas. The intelligence of the play changing of Peyton Manning against the best defense in the league. The beast mode of Marshall Lynch trying to win the Super Bowl inch by inch. But the Super Bowl was not even close to that. The Broncos started the game with a fumble in the goal line, giving the Seahawks safety and the ball. And basically, the game since second 12, the game was decided. Peyton just could never start the offense, and the Seahawks defense just didn't stop hitting the Broncos. And not letting them pass the final score was shameful. 43 to 8, and yes, the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, their very first Super Bowl ever. It was a great game by Seahawks. I think Lynch did the best. Also, the defense was really really played good, and maybe we could have seen more from Broncos if Peyton was more concentrated in game. But I think he never was really into it. He was like in another world, And the defense of Broncos was only almost never playing. They were like just there, like never doing nothing, and that's all from me. Thank you, and have a really good day.